Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are here for what is going to be an absolutely incredible day of international rugby. We start with the Pacific Nations Cup. We end in Argentina, but for now, we have got an exciting matchup taking place between Tonga and Australia A. This last round is very important for Australia A, as if they are victorious here, they will be sitting top of the table before we get into the last match, Fiji versus Samoa. But I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope you've slept well, because we have got a massive day of rugby just around the corner. But do let me know who you think will be able to win this game. Australia A currently, they are sitting on 7 points. They have been able to get themselves a couple bonus points throughout this competition, which could be the massive difference for them in it. But we will look through at the starting lineup, first of all, of their home side, Tonga. And they are as follows: David Lolohea, Sam Molly, and Ben Tamefuna in the front row. Then it is Leva Fafita, the captain, at number 4. And then Sam Lausi at number 5. Hala Fanua at number 6. Solomoni Funaki, I hope my voice doesn't already disappear. That would be a bit unfortunate. And Lotu Anisi there at number 8. Then Manupai gets the start at number 9. That is rather than Sonotane Takalua, who has been taken out. William Havili for Tulipaia. Then it is Tamapo in the midfield. Tuatavuki, Whaiana Nuku, and also Malsia does slot in at fullback as the first change for that kind of, I guess you could say, the back or the fullback and the fly half, I should say, as well. And also we have got there in the chat, we have got hello from Digito Sims. Also, go Tonga, says Tonga, or Tyson West. And also there's, like mate, I'm off to bed, ready for tomorrow, says Flesh. And so we will see a little bit later on. And also Kiora TKL Bro says, Rogue, hope you are doing well, mate. This is the Australia A side that they have gone with in this matchup. Matt Gibbon, Billy Pollard, and Tom Robinson as the front row. Then Hugh Sinclair and Siru Uru will be the locks. Will Harris, Fraser McWright, and Langy Gleeson. Ryan Lonergan and Ben Donaldson will be slotting in as the halves. Lalakai Faketi, Hudson Crichton, the dangerous Filippo Dalgunu, Dylan Peach, and Jock Campbell. And we have also got there in the chat from Amelia a little bit earlier on. I reckon Hughes will get it done tonight over the Irish. It's going to be a tough match, that is for sure. I'm very excited for it. I'm going to move my camera back a little bit because it was a bit too close to my face. And also, are you doing Ireland and All Blacks in the Wales match? We certainly are. We are doing every game of international rugby that we can squeeze in today, which does involve the next match between Fiji and Samoa, then the game after that, Ireland, New Zealand, Australia, England, South Africa, Wales, and then closing it out with Argentina and also Scotland. So that's going to be just as entertaining of a match as any of the others, I think. And also, where's Piatau, Folau, and Fekatoa? So Folau currently is injured. Fekatoa and Piatau, I believe they are resting for their Rugby World Cup qualifying match against Hong Kong next week. So they've decided that rather than risking them in a Pacific Nations Cup where they can't actually get any better than last place at this point, they've decided to rest them. I would have at least liked to see them come off the bench, though, in this game, just to give them some minutes for taking on Hong Kong. But that game is actually going to be played in Australia. So you'd have to say some of those players would have a bit of a home field advantage there. And also, well, I'm off to bed. It's 1 a.m. here where I am, says Digito Sim. So we will see you later on. And also Hong Kong, says Rogue, they are indeed through. They were able to beat South Korea. I believe it was about 23 points to 21. So that is why they have made their way through to that next stage. And whoever wins that game between Tonga and Hong Kong will be going through to the next stage of the Rugby World Cup, which is qualifying. And tonight's one of the rare occasions I missed the Wallabies game because I'm going to see the Elvis movie. I only realized that I booked the tickets, or after I booked the tickets, that the Wallabies are playing midway through the movie, says Amelia then. Did you see the woman, says Tyson? I did see it on, I believe, was it on Wednesday that they did end up playing, but I still remember that game last weekend, Papua New Guinea versus Fiji, 152-0, very impressive score for the Fijiana side, but this game now underway, 10 seconds in, and Australia have got themselves the ball off kickoff. Back to Donaldson in the pocket, and he has kicked it way down the middle of the field, but there's good distance on it. But William Havili was right there waiting for it, and now he's going to try and charge his way forward. He's tackled well by Siru Uru, and who plays for the Reds. Speaking of the Red Suncorp Stadium, it was rocking during State of Origin. The game between the Wallabies and England is going to be played at the SCG, and it's already sold out. And Coach Tautai Kifu's been drinking too much kava. Wairese players for measly little Hong Kong, says Rogue there. I mean, it's one of those ones that because they aren't in contention for this one, I can understand it a little bit, but I don't understand not having them off the bench for this game just to give them some minutes under their belt. Because Piatau, yes, he's one of those players that you don't need to play for a while and he comes back in and he shines, but you'd still think it would be worth the risk of that's a brilliant kick from Tonga. Only now 5 meters out from the line, and they are going to have the line out for themselves. But it was Suru just ended up getting himself in the wrong place. And because of it, Tonga have really got a great opportunity to capitalize here. They need a straight throw from Sam Molly. But yeah, I would have thought having them off the bench in this game would have at least been a good tactic. If not, maybe start them for half the game and then take them off, just to get a little bit more game time for them, because I've only played with Tonga once, which sounds incredible to say for two players of the skill level of Piatau and I've forgotten his name because they're just rolling forward. There it is. It's the Tongan try, and Sam Molly gets it down. Piatau was who I was going to say, and also Match Fitness Beats watching YouTube and putting the feet up, says Rogue there. Exactly right. That is going to be brilliantly done by Sam Molly. He puts up the, it was actually the fin for the Tasman Marcos. And just like that, Tonga have got themselves the first try of the match up against Australia A. Now, I should mention, if Tonga win this game, it means that Samoa will still be sitting on top of the bunch, and it will all come down to their game up against Fiji of whether or not they do end up finishing at the top or in second. And also we have got there, what's up, bro, where you from? There's Damon there. So I am from New Zealand. I'm in the South Island at the moment. I was set in 8 degrees Celsius on a sunny day, which actually isn't too bad compared to what we have had. I believe the last live stream that we are doing of the day, we will more than likely be, I'd say, sitting in about 1 degree heat, something along those lines. And now the line, apart from the Fijian game, Tonga have always started well, says ABL. That is true. They were 18 points up over the Samoans. I think it was 18-3 or something along those lines. But then the second half happened for them. So Tonga, as long as they get, I guess you could say, enough points in this first half to warrant a shaky second half, they should be all right up against Australia A. But William Havili lines it up close to the touchline, and he's missed it away to the left. So it is going to be 3 minutes through this game, 5-0 in favour of Tonga. And Sonny is here in South Auckland. Says Rogue there, and also Tonga, says a Rogue, and also it's worth it because I'm taking my great auntie to see it. She grew up listening to Elvis, and she was lucky to be around when he was around, says Amelia there. So yeah, I didn't actually realise there was a new movie coming out. So I guess you have to let me know afterwards if you are up at the 3 a.m. game, which I don't know whether or not you still will be for South Africa Wales. But if you are, do let us know how it did go for you and whether or not you give it a good review. But now 22 metres out from their own line, Manu Paia about to kick this ball. Or in fact, he gives it back to Havili. Does now boot it downfield, and he's found touch as well. Now the crowd is very, very small for this match. I always notice that it's as soon as that Fijian game starts, the crowd just absolutely blossoms into a sea of support for the Fijians. But for this game, it looks like there's about 10 people there. And also, did you see me think your video as well? Says Xavier, I did. I saw that it did like the little tiny, like little emoji thing. And that's actually the first thanks on a video we've had, Xavier, since George tested the button when it got put there. So thank you very much. I was like, chance that will be, don't be cruel. Says Rogue there as well. Now, beautifully done in the breakdown. And that is now going to be the penalty to Australia A. Right. I think if you're Australia A, you take the 3 points on here. Tame Funa, he's a little bit unlucky there. In fact, it's actually going to be the big number 1, Lolo here, who did have that one. And also, bro, you must become a commentator on New Zealand. Bro, you're the best. And there's us, says Damon. And also, you should have seen her reaction to when I got her the ticket. She started crying happy tears, says me earlier there. And also, trucking down under, said, hey, how are you, mate? Doing very well, mate. What did you think of the third State of Origin match if you did end up watching it? And did it go the way that you were hoping? I'm trying to remember where does the Alliance lie for Perth and State of Origin, trucking down under? Or is it just like we don't really care because we're off to the side? Do you let me know? Oh, someone's down already. That's not good. I think it's Hamefuna. Stayed down a little bit longer than he would have liked. But Ryan Lonergan about to line up this kick. Try and get Australia A back into the match just a little bit more. And also, Women's Bunnings NBC, says Xavier there. Oh, that is true. It's actually taking place right now, isn't it? I think it's Canterbury versus Wellington is going to be starting. And also Manawatu versus, I want to say they're versing counties, but I could be wrong there. In fact, it might be Manawatu and Waikato. And also we have got there Perth, Western Australia is neutral when it comes to Origin footy. And there says Rogue, but that one has gone over. And now the score is going to be 5 points to 3 in favour of the Tongans. 6 minutes gone in this very first half, and also it kind of sucks that I miss a bit of the Wallabies game, but it's worth it because I get to spend time with my great auntie, says Amelia there. And at the end of the day, they do still have those replays of the matches, and depending on how the result goes, maybe, you know, if you're able to keep it secret throughout the whole match and catch a replay straight after, like, you know, it would still be like watching it live as long as no one spoils it for you. And Queensland Maroons for life as well, says Rogue there. It's going to be nice work from Ryan Lonergan, just hanging on to this one. It's stolen. Oh, he was off his feet though, so it is going to be the penalty to Australia. Body weight, just not keeping it up. I think it was actually Fatuli Pai who he's pinged there. And also, I never got to watch it, was driving, mate. So he's trucking down under. She'll be in the, I guess, if there's ever a busy season for a trucker, which is like busier than the rest, that wasn't a word. It'd be like kind of that mid-year and also around Christmas as a trucker. So you'll probably work in like as many hours possible, are you, at the moment? If Samoa loses to Fiji, who wins the comp? As everyone will have one loss each. So if Samoa loses to Fiji, depending on who wins this game, if Tonga win this game, Samoa will still win the comp, unless Fiji absolutely just pour on the points against Samoa by about, I think it's 20 or 30. They'll need to beat them by. Doesn't Fiji have a better points differential, says Rogue there. So, yeah, I think they would end up getting, because of that big win over Tonga, I think they would sneak up. As long as they get the bonus point win, that's a knock-on from Tima Whainanoku. That ball might have been in touch. Yes, it was. They are going back for the line out. But, yeah, as long as they win with a bonus point, that is kind of the big deciding thing. So they will have to get themselves 4 or more tries in the competition to get that bonus point. And also, it would be pretty much a replication of Wednesday, because I would just stay off Twitter to avoid Virgin River spoilers whilst I binge this season, says Amelia there as well. One moment. I'll quickly actually look at the way that the table sits with that points differential and see how much Fiji would have to win by. But I know that they need those 4 points, or 5 points, sorry, rather than just the 4. And if Samoa are close to Fiji in that game within 7, that kind of cancels out any chance that they had as well. So currently, the points differential is very, very close. So Samoa's points differential is plus 21. Fiji's points differential is plus 22. So if Fiji won that game with a bonus point by 2 points, they would end up winning the match and the competition. So it's going to be close. Well, it looks like Felipe Daungunu now running forward very nicely. And also, sweet as let's go, Tonga. Do our Samoans a favour, please, says Abiel there. So, yeah, they are going to be waiting to see whether or not they are playing off for a chance at the title, because that's the thing. If Australia A win this game, then Samoa do have to beat Fiji, which is a tricky one. And I know my mates, they'll probably tell me who wins if I'm not home in time, but I don't have an issue with it, says Amelia. So you might have to completely turn off all like social media and all phones and whatnot to try and be all right. That's going to be the penalty for Tonga off their feet for the Australia A side. And they've got a few good players in there. A few of their players have been stolen by the Wallabies team, such as Resage, Mark Noah, Kwaneta Wasi, not playing in this game anymore, and Abiolo Sao Aus. Hopefully I've said that correctly from Rogue there, but now William Havili, the young Tasman player, and also normally busy all year round. Then leading up to Xmas is crazy. Then I take a few weeks off over Xmas and New Year. So he's trucking down under there. Yeah, because like that's the thing. I always say it. I feel like you hear me say it every single time. I have so much respect for truck drivers, bus drivers, anyone who has to drive for like long periods of time. People underestimate how like taxing that can be, because they go, oh, but you're just driving. But like, it's such a long way that you're literally just, I guess you could say, doing the same thing, but you're not able to lock into the same thing, if that makes sense, because you're always like, you're doing the same thing, but there's new challenges, such as if a cat decides it wants to cross a road or something, you got to keep an eye on it. Kids always like running out in front of things, don't they? They're bloody annoying. I learned that on my driving test, that like, luckily I stopped. It sounds like I tried to run over a kid, but like pretty much kids just randomly come out off the footpath, so you got to keep an eye on them as well. And also when you drive, you have to concentrate 24/7, says Xavier. Yeah, and it just taxes your brain. Like you just get into like driving mode. Do you dream about driving trucking? Is my big question, because I dream about commentating. So do you end up dreaming about driving when you do get a sleep? And also I'm thinking about taking my great auntie to Pancake Parlour for lunch, because she's never been, because she's so adamant on home cooking. says Amelia there as well. Kick downfield now from Jock Campbell. Gives it a good strike and very close to running it into touch there. Yes, he did for Malsia. And because of it, it is going to be now a 50-22 in favour of Australia. And also those Aussies, interstate long-haul drivers are true champs, says Rogue. Exactly right. Like, it's just that silent, like, I guess you could say the silent work that doesn't get the credit it deserves. How it's just like everyone sees all those trucks on the road and go, oh, there's a lot of trucks on the road. They don't go, oh, there's a guy driving that truck who's literally just driven for like 10 hours. And no, I don't dream about driving, says Trucking. I see. That's so weird when I end up dreaming about like commentating. It's one of those, like, I think I have dreaming that's like too responsive, because like if something happens like 5 hours before I go to sleep, I dream about that. So I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. But yeah, rugby seems to pop up quite a bit. I had a dream last night that the Irish were playing rugby on my main street. I'll get into that a little bit more later on, but now 11 and a half minutes through, I was actually in the Irish side. Me, Tyke Furlong and Gary Ringrose were all fired up. But then the ball went into someone's like kind of garden, and we had to try and get round the dogs to get to it. Dreams are weird. Hugh Sinclair now carrying forward. It's a good tackle from Loto Anisi. Lonergan once again. Nice little flick on the inside to Dalgunu, but he has knocked it on. I'm going to miss the Island game, says Jack. So yeah, I would say probably if you can try and avoid all social media if you do want to watch it without having any spoilers. So hopefully you're able to do so with that one. But yeah, it does suck when you have a big game that you've been waiting for and then something pops up. Now Dylan Peach now trying to break through. Look at him go. Waratahs player. And he is representing the Waratahs very well. He's still going. Someone needs to put that man down on the ground. Now Lonergan going back across to Tom Robinson, Donaldson. Everyone's got a sin in their name. And now it's going to be Pollard. He ruined it. Fraser McWright. Nice carry once again. And also, I never remember them in Hamish and Furlong dynamic duo, says Jack. Oh, yeah, we were fired up till we realised that we had to go and find the ball in someone's, like, garden. Ben Donaldson goes back again. Nice ball out to Jock Campbell. One more to Dalgunu. He looks for the corner and he scores it as well. Brilliant work from Filippo Dalgunu. And Australia A take the lead. A lot of rugby today. What teams you got winning today, says Kyle. So for this game, I think Australia A, they got a pretty decent chance, but I like the fact that it will put Samoa under that little bit of extra pressure, because anytime Samoa has that pressure, they seem to step up just a little bit more. New Zealand versus Ireland. If New Zealand don't win, I think the coach is going to be in trouble. So I'll have to say Ireland, I had to say New Zealand, but I think Ireland have got a very good chance as well. That's brilliantly done by Filippo Dalgunu in the corner. Australia versus England, I think England might take it just because of what we saw in that last match. Then, what else have we got? South Africa, Wales. I want to say South Africa should win, but it's hard to tell. They have struggled a little bit up against the Welsh. And also, Xavier, don't dream it's over, bro. Says Rogue, and also Garden Hosey, because says Brett there. And also, we've got their Fiji scores, says Rogue. And also, what is your score prediction for Fiji Samoa? I think I switch between it many times. Whoever wins it by 5, but at the moment, I'm sitting in favour of Samoa, because I think that rolling maul is going to be very tough to defend. And Ireland go first in the world if they win right, says Jack. I believe so, because France don't have a game anymore for this one. And if Wales beat South Africa, I think I don't know where they go up to. I think they go up to maybe like 6th if they're lucky, which is pretty huge. But now Australia A strikes, and it's at the post, and it's bounced back. So that will be remaining at 8 points to 3. Favour of Australia A, but it was a good try from Filippo Dalgunu. And also we have got there Ireland, England, Wales, Scotland for the win. So all Northern Hemisphere once again for those predictions. And also we have got there Kalawa ASC. See, it's able there. Unfortunately, Tua Tavuki just wasn't quite able to stop Dalgunu. I got Samoa by 5 myself. South Africa will hurt Wales today, I believe. Says MJ Does Life. And also we cover Hong Kong versus Tonga next week. We certainly will be. And it's going to be pretty awesome. See who does make their way through to that World Cup. They've said that Filippo Dalgunu, in fact, Suru has been taken out in the air. So it does become the penalty to Australia A. And Shane, you must be wearing your British and Irish Lions tinted glasses. Says Rogue there. Because it's such a weird couple weeks we've had of rugby, isn't it? Like, because first week, all Southern Hemisphere. Second week, all Northern Hemisphere. And now third week, every game's a decider. And I feel like it's kind of what we've wanted, even though, well, it's what I wanted anyway. I wanted every game to matter, and now it certainly is going to. And it's just going to be probably what I would call the biggest day of international rugby we have had in quite some time, because every game matters, and that's why it's so awesome. Even this game matters. Tonga versus Australia A, because if Australia A win this, then Samoa's game matters a little bit more. And if Tonga win it, then the same thing can be said, because Fiji and Samoa will both be playing off for the Pacific Nations Cup. That's a good kick in behind. It's taken nicely by Malsia. Has now kicked it back downfield. It's a good kick as well, and it has managed to find touch around the halfway line. And Will Jordan's going to eat James Lowe for dinner. And also James Lowe has had a terrible tour, says Rogue. And there as well, it looks like Malsia is trying to ask for maybe a couple extra meters on that kick, but he hasn't quite received it from the touch judge. 16 minutes through this contest currently. Now line out the way of Australia A, and biggest game in Irish history today. And yeah, as I says, Jack, it's got to be right up there, because like the historic win that they got in New Zealand was absolutely huge. But to turn that into a historic test series win, 2 games in a row up against New Zealand, and New Zealand would be even crazier for the Irish. That one's going to be missing out on the pass out to Dylan Peach, but now he has been tackled by Tima Whaiananuku, who's trying to rip that ball away. Does have to release. He hasn't really released. He's given him a wedgie instead. He said, right, if I'm not allowed to tackle you, I'll pull your pants up. But now on halfway, Hugh Sinclair. Let's go down. Good work in the breakdown from David Lolo here. And he is going to be able to get the turnover. North side, rather, if we play Hansen on the left, Hansen on the left, and Earls on the right, and Lama as a 23. I thought Lama had enough of a performance in that game up against the Māori All Blacks to be able to actually get himself into the side. It was a little bit unfortunate for him, but I think the pre-plan of what they were going to be doing was that midfield combo of Bundy Aki and Robbie Henshaw. I do see that Henshaw's dropped to 13 rather than starting at 12, and Aki gets that inside centre, but I still would have thought Lama would have had a decent shot. Hello, Amish, my friend, and all my Kiwi Lads family. I will be hoping Tonga in this one, says Jackson, and James Lowe's hands are greasier than anchor butter, says Rogue. I mean, yeah, it's probably, he hasn't had the best handling tour, I guess you could say, overall. I wonder if Scott Robinson's still in Fiji. Last week they showed him because he had been surfing. I wonder if that is the case. And Lama on the left, Alpaca on the right wing, says Rogue. And also, if we wish we had Prime Stockdale at 11 and Hansen at 14 would be incredible, says Jack. Yeah, Mackenzie Hansen, or Matt Hansen, all that's dropped by Manu Paia, unfortunately. And Saruru, now it's taking it back. James Lowe is a liability, says Jack. Although he seems to be one of those players that he either has a really, really good season or a really, really bad season, if that makes sense. It seems to be a little bit of a 50-50 in hello, brother. Kiwi Lads, our family love you as well, says Jackson. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing brilliantly and hope you are excited for all of the international matches that just joined. How's our Tongan Usos doing? They're not doing too badly. Overall, they started the match extremely well. A rolling maul try going the way of Tonga. But since then, Australia A have probably had about 70 to 80% possession. So Tonga have to try and find a way of changing that momentum. A couple of the Tongan fans are really having a bit of a party. That man looks so disappointed in whoever's over there. I think he was looking at someone dancing and he just sat there like, why are you doing that? Yes, possession in this game, 74% for Australia. And Tonga ended up having a little bit of it in the first kind of 5 to 10 minutes. And Peter O'Mani is out of the garden to beat New Zealand, says Jack Cody in there as well. And also State of Origin was good on Wednesday night, says Shane. It certainly was. We did actually end up, it was on the Kiwi Lad Sport channel. Me and Dad actually did the commentary for that contest. And we are going to be doing a little bit more of the NRL in the future, possibly. And also watching the game live on World Rugby and got you on YouTube at the same time, says MJ Does Life. A little bit of multitasking, liking it a lot. Yeah, Peter O'Mani, though, he didn't actually pop up in the dream about the garden. It was me, Ringrose Furlong, and also, who was our halfback? I don't think Connor Murray was there, but we didn't have a lock for some reason because we were only playing like 4-on-4. Or 3-on-3 it might have actually been. So I don't know how lineouts were going to really work. But we had to get the ball back, and some lady got angry at us because I accidentally let the dogs out when I was trying to get the ball. So I got the ball and then I got the dogs back in, but one of them did their business on her lawn. So she wasn't too happy, and then she called me a fake Irishman, which I feel like is justified because I was playing for Ireland, yet we were playing in my hometown in New Zealand. So she knew something that I didn't possibly at the time. Ben Donaldson kicks it downfield. Nicely taken by Tuatavuki, and now Anzelo Tuatavuki instead offloads it off to Malsia to make his way back into the side for Tonga. And now we'll be hoping to have a big impact with William Havili at fly half up to the halfway line now. I watched State of Origin at the Four Kings in Wellington. I support Queensland there we're four over Queensland supporters. And we have got 80 New South Wales, great atmosphere, wicked, says Justin there. Pool B for the Rugby World Cup 2023. It's surely the death pool, South Africa, Ireland, and Scotland. Anyone's for the taking, to be honest, says ABO. And I think Tonga or Hong Kong also make their way into that one. Don't they? Peter O'Mani is so hot-headed playing rugby, always scrapping. Then his Instagram is so peaceful, just him in his garden, says Jack. That's the thing. Some players, it's like Ellis Genge. You would think off the field, Ellis Genge was like the angriest fella around. But it's just when he's out on the field, the mindset is to pretty much kill or be killed. Like hit someone hard or be hit hard for Ellis Genge. So he'll go out there, put forearms on the back of people's heads and not get penalised. You know, little throwback to last week, of course. But like he will just be angry while he's out there. And who do you think is going to win against Samoa and Fiji? I'm still a little bit seesawing in my head currently. I'm thinking Samoa, because if Australia A win this, they'll have just a little bit more to play for in that next game. But Fiji easily could win that one. And also, guys, it's a good time to get a membership. You get prioritized answers to your questions in the chat, and Kiwi Games can get hectic, says Xavier. Yeah, we're probably going to have over 500 people in the New Zealand versus Ireland one, which is absolutely huge. Do losing teams in the comp play for third place or any leaderboard position like Sevens World Series, says Mark? Sadly not. I wish they did, because I was of the reasoning of that we were going to have a final match between 1 and 2, but we don't actually get that. It's just whoever's got the most points at the end of the competition after this round wins it, and we don't have a kind of individual final, because people were thinking it was going to be a Fiji versus Samoa final again, maybe. It's now 2:30 a.m. in South Africa, and I stayed up to watch this one. Says not your everyday cultist. I like the commitment, mate. And there are plenty more matches coming up. Team of Fire Nuku, brilliant carry forward from him. Now Tonga sitting about 35 metres out. Nice inside ball from Lausi. And Lolo here does take another carry. Ben Tamefuna up to 25 metres out now for Tonga, and they're looking off to the short side. Manupai now a little kick behind from William Havili. I'm not sure whether that was the best option, but Manupai has been able to clean it up for the Tongans. And Filippo Dalgunu trying to get straight over the ball. Great counter ruck. It's popped out to Ben Tamefuna, though. Just sat down Siruru, just something you don't see too often. Now David Lolo here around the side. So it's good phase play currently from Tonga, moving up to about 7 in a row now. Nice run once again from Solomoni Funaki. Plays brilliantly for Moana Pacifica. Now William Havili goes for a little grab behind Team of Fire. Nuku waits for a peach, tries to force it. Did he get it down? I believe he did. They want to check this one, but they don't have TMO, so they're going to have to work on... Okay, Peach grounded it is what they have said, and also didn't send a message, but just did my 7 months of membership as well, says Xavier. So congratulations there. You must be gold at the moment, but you are getting close to that diamond as well, which is pretty awesome. And also Marnie might regret his Richie McCaw sledge tonight, says Rogue. And yeah, well, I hope it has fired Sam Cane up, because at the end of the day, I think we need a massive performance from the captain for New Zealand if they want a chance. And hard game to call this weekend is Argentina and Scotland. I 100% agree with you. I mentioned it, I think, about 3 days ago to someone. I said that game actually, pound for pound, could be the best game of the weekend, but hardly anyone is looking at that game as one to watch out for, because we've got so many massive clashes before it. But I am probably, like, not just because it's the last game of the day, and by then we would have seen some tremendous rugby, but like that game's going to be an epic way to close out the day of internationals. And also good to see you. I'm off to work. See you tonight, says Spider Meek. We will see you later on, mate. And hey, Hamish says, Brandon, welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing well. 1:24 a.m. in Ireland, and I'm going to an amusement park at 6 a.m. for some reason, says Jack. Is that like with a group, or are you just going by yourself, Jack? Because don't go by yourself is a good bit of advice if you've seen any horror movie ever. And also, we have got 2 losing teams. Oh, no, I read that one. And also, I had to persuade the mother of my youngest child with some amazing skills to have my son for the weekend, Jackson. 2 hours. Oh, I was kissing, says Jackson. In there, or Justin, sorry. In there, but now backline, Taumapo has knocked it on and it's going back for the penalty. Havili and Whainaunuku, we watching the ABs or Tonga, says Rogue. Yeah, there's some very similar names. Tima Whainaunuku actually having his debut on the same day as Leicester Whainaunuku, which is pretty awesome. And of course, William Havili, David Havili's brother, and David Havili going to be coming back for the All Blacks today to play at number 12 in our group, says Jack. And do you know if New Zealand has ever lost 2 games in a row on home soil? We definitely have at some point. When it was, though, is probably a different story because it's been quite some time. It's probably back in the days of Australia beating us like in the Bledisloe. Although those are normally doing to doing, like kind of one in each country, aren't they? Surely it's happened. But it would be quite some time, I would think. And also, if the ABs lose, are we talking about a coach replacement? Says Abiel. I think even before the ABs lost that last game, people have still been talking about replacing Foster, but it's whether or not like it actually happens is a different story. I know that the people higher up have kind of gone like, yes, we're going badly, but we're not changing it this close to the World Cup, which is I guess a risky tactic, but we'll have to wait and see whether or not it pays off. Do you think Zebo's days are over? Not at URC level. I think he's sensational. International wise, though, I think unfortunately there are just a few too many guys who do get that nod over the top of him. That one's missed from William Havili. It's actually curled away late to the left. So rather than being 8 all in this contest, it is still sitting 5 points to 8. And his Island days, says Jack. Yeah, I think Island-wise, he is going to struggle to get selected consistently. Definitely when you've got those young guys making their way through the rankings. Balakoon is there. There's a couple other real quick flying wingers. So, it's tricky for an older player, a veteran of the game, to get back in. But if he keeps on playing the way he is in the URC, he's got a chance maybe on a Northern Hemisphere tour due to injury cover, because that's the thing. At the moment, you see who they've got in their side, and then, even for this All Blacks game, but they haven't got Lama in there, who is certainly a good option. Keith Earls, he's still doing very well, and he can play out on the wing. Now it's going to be a penalty to Australia A for taking the ball in the air. Now, nice run from Ryan Lonergan. Tries to break down the wing, and it's working pretty well for him. Good low tackle made from David Lolo here. Offloads it up to Siru Uru, who's now put it down, and now Taumapo has been able to take it back nicely for Tonga. And Damian McKenzie is back in New Zealand, says Jane Hayes. Yeah, needs more characters like Peter O'Mani, for example. Everyone is like a program robot nowadays, says Jack. And I think that's why so many people enjoy watching Joe Marler, because it's so against what you should do in an interview, I guess you could say, that people get drawn to it. It's a good take and a good mark as well by Mosia there inside of his 22. And also, what's your opinion on the starting 15 position for South Africa? Do you think, what do you think of Gallant's last game? Says, not your everyday cultist. I really like watching Gallant in the URC. And with so many changes, I think they've gone, I guess, what they feel is the safest option. Damian Willemse in that first test match, I thought was one of the best players out there for South Africa, just with that running game, because with kicking the ball away so often in that first game, there weren't really many running meters made. But with him, he just seemed to be able to get it through. I think he got 60. So I'd like to see more of Gallant in the future, but I think for this game, they had to go back to Damian Willemse just to be safe, I guess you could say. But what do you think of the side overall? Well, not your everyday cultist. Are you happy with the team that they've put out? Some have called it the strongest South African side. Some have said that there's a couple weak links in that side. What are you thinking? Ebenet's the best 100th match, though, and that will certainly on that man, as he has played every match in the starting lineup for this series. The only player for South Africa to do so, whereas Wales, they have only made one change from last week, and that is due to injury. Well, Siru Uru, once again, almost had a little bit of a juggle there. All Blacks lost 2 in a row against South Africa in 1989. Geez, it's been a while then. So they certainly won't want it to happen again for this game at Sky Stadium. Now off the Tima Whainaunuku. And I'd have to say, if the weather's wet in Wellington, that would benefit Ireland every day of the week. I think the way that they played up against the Māori All Blacks was very impressive. Now, going forward once again, this is becoming a very physical contest. And it looks like Ben Tamefuna a little bit slow getting back up to his feet. A little bit of a counter ruck from Australia A, but Manu Paia looks like it's still going to be just available. Is Havili and Tonga related to the league Havili? Oh, that's a coincidence. Oh, I know that the Havili in the Tongan lineup is brothers with David Havili of the All Blacks, but I'm not too sure whether or not they are also related with Havili from league. because there's also Sione Havili, who does play for, I think he's coming off the bench for Tonga, which I'm not too sure whether or not there's any relation there. Now, nice run from Fatuli Baia. Finds the offload to Tima Whaiananuku. This is a great attacking opportunity for Tonga right at the end of the first half. In fact, we've still got 10 minutes left, so still plenty of time. Now back across, Loto Anisi with a nice carry forward once again. Now Manu Paia quickly. Oh, Novus, it's been dropped. And that is going to be the mistake from Tonga after 10 phases. Now Fraser McWright has the ball for Australia A. And they are looking for a little bit of a counter. Ben Donaldson gets the bounce pass off the Lulakai Fuketi, who straightens with the run. Almost going through, finds the offload back into the hands of Tim Anstey. So they did have to make that replacement a little bit earlier on. The number 6 did go off the field. Now Ben Donaldson kicks it downfield, looking for the 50-22. And it's just outside. And Tonga will have themselves to line out. And also, yes, I reckon, and most of us Saffers are generally happy with the team. Sure, Jaden Hendrickson had a pretty good game last week. We're still pretty worried about him if he is good enough, or if he will be good enough for Pollard, says Not Your Everyday Cultist. Because one thing I'll say with Hendrickson, I think the big difference with him and de Klerk is Jaden Hendrickson, I think we're going to see less kicking, which is also something that will benefit South Africa, because that first game when they were kicking that ball away so often, it kept Wales in the contest. I think we see a South African side that are like a shark with blood in the water. They're going to just keep on going and going and going and try and wear down this Welsh team, because with just the one change being made in their starting lineup, they should be tired, you would think, after so many games in a row. And coming to you from FMG, watching Waikato Women's versus Manawatu. So hopefully it is going all right for you. And yeah, do let me know the score of that game, Nov Mum, because I know that there's also Wellington-Canterbury taking place at the moment. And I think Canterbury are up 17-0 the last time I saw it, whereas I'm not too sure about that other matchup between Waikato and Manawatu. But currently, the man who was looking very sad before is looking a lot happier now, which is great to see. And the Tongan fans are still dancing away in the crowd as well. Also, we have got the WWE APG anymore. Colossal W, says Jack in there. Yeah, I did see a rumour that they're going back to TV 14 and 5-all, says No Mum. So a close game for the Farah Palmer Cup. And hopefully there are a lot of close games throughout the competition. As looks like 1998 against South Africa and Australia, says MJ Does Life. And also we've got the appetite. Kept the box out of international rugby until 1992. Says Rogan. Also, last time AB's lost back-to-back was in 2020 to Argentina and Australia. Guess who was the coach was? Yep, Fozzie says. We are there now. Backline movement for Australia A. Lulakai Fuketi not quite able to find that ball away to his teammate in the midfield, Hudson Crichton. Now Lonergan off to the right. Nice straightening run from Billy Pollard. And a few of these guys, you'd have to say they are close to Wallaby selection if they keep on going. Also, sorry, it was 1998. And there's Brent. Nice run from Tim Anstey once again. He has had a brilliant season for the Western Force and Super Rugby Pacific. Oh, it's stolen by the big Sam Losi. Wanted the offload, but didn't find it. Instead, they go back for the penalty. And now Australia A 5 metres out. And Georgia was a crazy game with Italy, says Mark there as well. Oh, Siru Uru almost took that one quickly. But I see Dylan Peach going off the field for Hamish Stewart. So actually another change being made by Australia A. And they've got the big decision here. And they want to kick for the corner. That is a bold call, but I like it. From Australia A, they're taking the risk, trying to reap the rewards. Whether or not that does happen, we will have to wait and see. It's a great take from Sam Lelsey, though, when he did end up coming through for the interception. Billy Pollard about to throw this ball in for the Australian A side. Nicely taken by Uru. And now the rolling ball. That ball's gone down. That ball's on the ground there. And it's a knock-on against Australia A. And also we're seeing how this Tongan lineup is going with the rest of the big guns kept for Hong Kong. Or rest of the big guns kept for Hong Kong in a must-win game next week, says Sammy Souza here. I'm actually going to have a quick look and see what time that game has taken place in New Zealand time. Luckily, it's in Australia, I believe. So it's going to be probably not too bad. It's still to be determined. Have they got any type of time organised? I assume it would be evening, possibly, or would they go afternoon maybe? And can I have a shout out for the All Blacks tonight? And there, as I says Blue Diamond. And there's us a shout out to you, mate. It is going to be a hectic live stream, that is for sure. A lot of people tuning in to see the decider between the All Blacks and Ireland. We are actually starting at 6:30 on that live stream, just because there is a huge amount of talking points to get to before we get into the match. At 7:05, it's gone down in the front row. And Brendan Pickerel wants another scrum reset. And also, you're the one that's wrong. The Springboks played their first game against the All Blacks in 1921. Says not your everyday cultist. Geez, that's a while back, isn't it? Because, yeah, they recently brought up 100 years and 100 matches, didn't they, for the Springboks, if I'm not wrong. But now 33 minutes through. Tonga, they'll just be looking for a clearance here, I would think. Only 5 to 10 metres out from their line. It looks like Will Harris has made his way back out onto the park, so I believe he passed the HIA. And now we'll be joining back up with the scrum. I'm just looking through at that scrum of Tonga. And you look at Ben Tamefuna, who's 146 kg. Sam Molly, the try scorer from earlier on. And David Lolo here has actually been playing pretty well throughout this contest also. You'd have to say that they've got a little bit of an advantage when it comes to that scrum time. Is everyone championship team going to Argentina? Or is every championship team going to Argentina to play them? I'd like to think so. Because, like, at the, little juggle, that's bad, from William Arvelli, and he's just put it down, and now it's going to be a 5-metre scrum for Australia A. It was passed back into the pocket to Arvelli, but then it was just the juggle, and now the pressure is well and truly on the Tongans once again. Only a few minutes left in this first half. But yeah, I know that New Zealand go to Argentina and Australia go to Argentina. I'm not too sure about South Africa, though. In 1921, damn KFC is that old, says Abiel. And Aussie, we'll go there. Even if the Aussies do win, they'll still need Fiji to beat Samoa to win the Pacific Nations Cup, says Sammy Sosa. So yeah, there's going to be plenty of pressure on that next game if Australia A get themselves the victory. It's going to be an exciting one, though. And cheers, Hamish. I'm too tired to carry on. I need my usual energy for the Box game. Best of luck with the All Blacks. We want another Southern Hemisphere sweep, says not your everyday culture. So I do look forward to seeing you later on, mate. And it's going to be a massive game, that is for sure. Apparently, New Zealand's new manager, after Foster, is a person with long blonde hair that wears suits. Don't know his name. Is it Scott Robinson? Or is it someone else, Jack? And also, surely with no travel restrictions these days, all rugby championship teams can travel to each other. And let's go. Akale Isalisi there. And yeah, the big scrum is coming here for Tonga. 5 metres out from their own line. They need a massive shunt from Ben Tamefuna, putting the opposition under pressure. Because the thing is, if Tonga win this penalty rather than just a free kick, that would be huge for them. Tamefuna, he's taking a few deep breaths. We'll be feeling quite the fatigue. They're playing in about 29-degree heat in Tonga forever. And you, Robinson, that's the one, says Jack there. And also, I'm talking specifically the period when South Africa was ostracised from international rugby. Everyone knows the Box and AB's rivalry is 101 years old. See the rogue there. Oh, Tamefuna's collapsed. Is he all right? Yeah, he's all right. He's just at his feet landing. Oh, they just ended up slipping out from underneath him, and the man face planted the ground. But it's a penalty to Australia A. Right, if you're Australia A here, I would take on the 3 points, and I think that's what they're going to do. Is at the end of the day, points on the board are certainly more crucial than the points that you do miss out on. Once again, that same guy gets the camera on him. He must be a popular man. I don't actually know whether or not he is an ex-player or anything along those lines, but it seems to be always that same guy does end up getting shown. But like they're saying, Tonga, they'll take that as a mini victory for them not being able to get over the try line from 5 out. Robinson, my bad. And there's our, says Jack. Now, Ryan Lonergan, 1 from 2 tonight. This one should be a nice stock standard kick for Lonergan to be able to line up. Currently 37 minutes through this contest. In Australia, they have taken just a little bit more of a lead. It will be a lead by 6 points here for Australia, 11 points to 5. And just the 3 minutes left of the first half. So a little bit of a seesaw battle, you could say, although we have seen a lot more attack from Australia A than Tonga. But Tonga, they were the first try scorers of the contest. Then Filippo Dalgunu did end up getting the next one. Hudson Crichton, no, he's not going off. It was just the angle. It made it look like he might have been on his way. But now will be Hamish Stewart also out there on the park. I should mention that is for Dylan Peach to go off just a little bit earlier on. William Havili, I would think this one's going to be a long kickoff. Oh, no, he's actually gone quite short. They think that they can retain it. And a team of Whainanuk, who's done brilliantly. So now Tonga have got this ball back with only a couple minutes left. Ben Tamefuna tackled low by Hugh Sinclair. That ball slipping away. It's a penalty to Tonga, though. And also, who could be the new Ireland manager if Andy takes an English job? Paulo Connell, maybe. I think I've heard that name a lot more than any other name there for Paul O'Connell. So you'd assume he'd have a decent crack. Is Andy Farrell, do you know when he would be going to the English job? Because I know that Eddie Jones is one of those guys that's a bit 50-50 of some people want him in there, some people hate the man. And Ronan O'Gara would be a good candidate. He would also do very nicely for Ireland. And also, what would you say the most watched club league is in the world? France would be most watched if they released the season pass. Says it was, they're from Xavier Brown. So yeah, I'd say that it's a tricky one because if we're going the most watched by overseas viewers, might be an easier way of looking at it. And you'd have to say probably, I know the URC gets quite a few overseas viewers on it. Definitely with it now having South Africa in the competition. But then top 14 also, if you can find somewhere to watch it, it does get quite the good viewership. That one's gone over. Gallagher Premiership, I enjoy watching that one as well, just because I know a lot of the players from Super Rugby sides in the past and also just seeing that up-and-coming English talent. Heineken Champions Cup would definitely be up there if we are talking as just competitions in general. So, it's the best of Europe going head-to-head. And also, I hope Andy stays with Ireland. That Tongan team right now should be a little better with 3 weeks together, despite Tongan fans losing some patience with Tautai. Says it was Sammy Souza. So, Sammy Souza, predictions for the game up against Hong Kong. Did you see Hong Kong versus South Korea? Out of curiosity, I don't know where we would have watched that game in New Zealand, but if you did see it, how are Hong Kong looking? I know they only just beat South Korea, which will concern them a little bit. And what is your score prediction for Tonga versus Hong Kong a week before we get to see it take place? It's been taken quickly by Billy Pollard. Now Suru goes off to Donaldson. Good carry from Langy Gleeson. Now Lonergan looks off to the short side. Still only 3 points difference between the two sides. That's a great shot on Jock Campbell. I believe that was Manu Pai who made the tackle on him. It's a penalty, though, for not rolling away. Unfortunately, 12 for Tuli Pai was stuck underneath that, and Farrell may want to coach his son. And this is Rogue. That's the thing, though. He might be sick of him. Some people as coaches, normally with that family dynamic, you can only coach them for so long till you're like, I want a new challenge type thing. So that's the thing. Owen Farrell, how many years left for England do you think he's got? He's definitely got the World Cup in him. But after that, it might get to, I don't think I see him at the 2027 World Cup. Oh, bit of a shoulder there from Taumapo there. And also the Wallabies game tonight is a sold-out game. Yeah, it's going to be a massive one at the SCG. And it's going to be awesome seeing them in action. Right, Australia A actually considered going for the corner rather than taking on the 3 points there. So you'd have to wait and see whether or not it does pay off them. Billy Pollard, nice ball on the inside to Tavita Dalgunu. Bit of a set play there for Australia. Ivan and Nathan Cleary vibes. Says Rogue there. It's the try for Langy Gleeson. And that is the last thing that Tonga wanted right at the end of the first half. Rather than taking on the 3 Australia A, they were a little bit more attacking. Decided they wanted to take the risk, and Langy Gleeson has reaped the rewards there. His first try today and also of the Pacific Nations Cup. And that now gives Australia a 16 points to 8 lead. Someone's just arrived at the house, but my dad's not here. I wonder who it is. It is halftime, though, so if they knock on the door, I might have to go and see them, just depending on what is happening. And also, we have got, Ivan and Nathan Cleary seem to work all right. In my opinion, Hong Kong is usually the best. The next best Asian team after Japan. Even if Tonga don't thrash the Hong Kongese, they should still win, even if it's not pretty as well, says Sammy Souza. So, yeah, it's going to be one of those ones that, it's going to be an awesome game to watch. We are actually going to be covering it on the channel. Also, World Rugby World Cup final watch along before you get 10K views in the chat at once, says Xavier. It's a great question, but I think it depends on who's in the final, because depending on who's in the final will depend on, I guess you could say, which channels do get extra attention, if that makes sense. Just because, like, if it's a South African final with no New Zealand, it's probably going to be a South African YouTuber who does get a lot more attention. If it's England in the final up against another Northern Hemisphere team, it's going to be someone in the Northern Hemisphere, I would think, that will get a little bit more of the attention. But if it's New Zealand, I think we'd do all right overall. But like I always say, any more than 5 people watching is still like pretty insane. And also Sky TV and Cable Sports TV are knocking at your door, bro, says Rogue. And there as well. Yeah, I'm interested to know who was knocking at my door, to be honest. Hopefully they haven't still been knocking, because if they're still knocking, I haven't heard anything. It might have been the courier, in fact. I also might want to get the door. Soon at halftime might be the police, says Sammy Souza there. Yeah, it's a noise complaint. Staying up all night watching rugby. To be fair, if I got a noise complaint for that, I feel like that's quite a cool one. Well, it's cool, but it's not cool, I guess you could say. Like, to be like to people, I got a noise complaint because I was commentating too hard at like 3 a.m. John Wick. As I says Abel there, it might be a decent time to go and have a look, if that's all right, ladies and gentlemen, just to see if someone dropped off a package. So what I will do is I will be back in like 1 or 2 minutes. I'm just going to open the door, get whatever it was. And is there any South African rugby YouTubers apart from the guy that passed away last year? Says Xavier, there's a few. Rugby Guru, we have actually done a collaboration with them in the past. Jason Bourne, says Rogue. So what I'm going to quickly go and do is I'm going to go check the door, and I will be back in a very short moment. Right, we are back. Hello, everyone. There were boxes at the door. And also, there's Unbiased Rugby, Rugby Guru, and Forever Sports, at least from my knowledge. Says Sammy Souza there, and also Jack Reacher, Vin Diesel, says Abiel there, and also at least Tonga has a team, says Alex Boy. Exactly right. And they have got a good opportunity of making their way through to the Rugby World Cup, as long as they do get themselves, I guess, they win over Hong Kong. It's so close for Tonga, because they've already had their qualifying matches up against Samoa that didn't quite go their way. But now they're just 1 match away from making it. That will be very awesome indeed. I'm very unfit. I jogged out there, picked up what was out there, and then put it back in. And now I'm puffing a little bit. And also, so it was the courier guys with that package you managed. See, Sammy Souza there. Yeah, it was the old courier. It's probably lucky I brought it in as well, because some of it I think was liquid. So that sounds really weird, doesn't it? But it was like some cans of something, I think. So that's why I brought them inside around the corner, so that it doesn't end up getting too hot in the sun. You know? I feel like that was very vague. You guys will understand if I was to show you, but I haven't got it. But what we have got is the Weet-Bix rugby box, and they have actually got limited edition Richie McCaw cards in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to open that at halftime in New Zealand versus Ireland. And also, when did this game start? It started 40 minutes ago. Currently at halftime, 18 points to Australia A and 8 points to Tonga. We saw the one try early on from Tonga of Sam Molly. Then other than that, it's been all Australia A with Langi Gleeson and Filippo Dalgunu as the 2 try scorers. We've seen 7 penalties against Tonga, 50-50 possession, and also time in opposition 22. 3 minutes 50 for Australia A, 2 minutes 19. It must be liquor and booze in that aforementioned package, says Sammy Souza. I mean, I'll just tell you what it is. It's like these orange and mango fizzy drinks that I got on special, like one of them. So it's like a 12-pack. It's not as cool as it sounds, but yeah. Yeah, it's all right. And also we have got the Hamish bro, you have Scottish roots, says Rogue. I have a Scottish name, but I'm not too sure about the roots. Overall, I think ages ago, maybe a little bit of Scottish in there somewhere, but I don't really know the family tree too well. Overall, but I can tell you, at a Scottish games back in primary school, my team won tug of war. Mainly because I was a tiny kid, so I was like, right, I need to get strategic with this and find all of the kids who look the strongest and the heaviest and put them on my team. and we thrashed. We well and truly dominated because we were just the dream team. I don't even think we won a prize though, which was kind of sad because I had fully assembled the side. One of our guys didn't even show up, didn't need him. We still won with less. You're the only guy that does live streams. Like 2 Cents does like one game a week. Says Xavier. I guess it just depends on schedule as well, which does make it a little bit trickier overall. But I think overall for like most rugby live streams, I don't want to say that we do the most, but I think we're up there overall because we do cover quite a few games each week and not enough haggis consumed, says Rogue there. Yeah, they did actually have the haggis. I did not try it. But on soft drinks, lucky you. I'm thinking of Fanta, says Sammy Souza. And then also, hi, says Sione, welcome in, mate. I hope you are doing very well. Who do you think will be able to win this game? And also, Fiji versus Samoa just a little bit later on in the night. Who do you think will get themselves the victory? But yeah, we also had that like totem pole throwing thing. I think it was. There's a name for it. Tartan? No, not tartan. What's that thing? You know, the massive pole that you got to throw that you kind of tilt. And I was like, good morning, Hamish. It's a beautiful day here in the capital. Perfect conditions for tonight's game, says Diesel. I am very glad to hear that because I know that heavily benefits the All Blacks, I would think, for the conditions. Because we saw how well Ireland played in the wet conditions against the Māori All Blacks and everyone. So close to 14K, says Xavier. We are very, very close to that 14,000 in Jamaica. Has the fastest sprinters alive. Surely recruit talent from out those ways. Surely, says ABL. Although the thing is, they have made their way into the Commonwealth Games. I did see recently that the pools were announced and Jamaica is there. So hopefully they do end up doing all right for themselves. It's been a while since Samoa last beat Fiji, says Sammy Souza. So it's going to be a tricky game. But I think the Samoan side, they seem to have a new lease on life at the moment with the way that they have been playing. And Tonga goes, says Sione. And there as well. But yeah, anyone who is new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We are currently sitting a total of 28 away from hitting the 14,000. So I would assume we will get there by the end of tonight. Fingers crossed, of course. Nothing's a given, though. We will wait and see how he does end up going. Currently, we have got an ad for the NRL. We are actually going to be doing a little bit of the NRL a little bit later on Tonga. And there as well, says Sione. Now, just waiting for the second half to get back underway. I should mention the next game that we are covering on the channel. It is at 3:30 p.m., but we will be starting at about 3:10 p.m., I believe it is. Somewhere along those lines. I've got a few interesting ads on New Zealand TV. RTS is going to be playing in the later game of today. Ireland versus the All Blacks. Going to be absolutely awesome to see what he can do off the bench. And I think Ireland are going to target him a little bit when he does come off the bench. They'll try and see whether or not they can break that weakness of Roger, which is kind of, unfortunately for like him, he doesn't have too many weaknesses in union, but sometimes it's that breakdown of not knowing whether or not you're league or unioning, if that makes sense. Because of playing league for so long, some of those, I guess, little quirks are still there. We saw that throughout Super Rugby, so hopefully he has had plenty of time to adapt, and he actually got better and better as the season went on. And ironically, with former players as coaches, say Lala is doing wonders for Samoa, unlike Tautai and Sammy Souza. I guess it's like Brian Lima, chiropractor for the Samoan Seven side. He has really, really brought those guys into another level, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do at the Commonwealth Games as well, which is actually only a couple of weeks away. We will be covering more than just the rugby league. The Rugby Sevens at the Commonwealth Games, ladies and gentlemen. So I guess that's a good question while we are still at halftime. Which other sports would you like to see us try and cover of the Commonwealth Games? That will be, if we have the time, of course, if they don't overlap with the Rugby Sevens and whatnot, but we will be covering them more than likely on the Kiwi Lads Sport channel, just to avoid any copyright chance on there as well. Although the Sevens main channel, or we will be doing the Sevens on the main channel, I should say. But yeah, what other sports are you guys interested in that are taking place at the Commonwealth Games that you would like to see some sort of commentary for? And also agree, Sailor's got the Manu playing a more structured game with the natural flair-tempered, says Rogue. And yeah, that rolling maul lately has been sensational. Looks like one that's going to be very tough for any side to try and stop, including Fiji. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. And Australia go NRL, says Sione there. But now just about to kick off. It is Ben Donaldson getting us back underway for the second half. Going from left to right here for the Australians. And women's rhythmic gymnastics, says Rogue. I'm not too sure of all of the terms for that one. Archery perhaps for the Commonwealth Games is a suggestion. Says Sammy Souza there. I did archery at school for like a school trip thing. And it's actually quite fun. Like, for some reason, the simplicity of that, like, because it's actually like, you need a little thing in there because or else then you really rip up the inside of your arm, as someone learnt. Because they were like, no, I don't need one of those. It's all good. And then they had like massive bruises across their arm where the string got them. And also Karevi might be playing for Wallabies versus Argentina, says Xavier. I saw that he's actually in the Commonwealth Games team. So that'll be interesting to see how he goes at the sevens level. That ball's gone into touch. And now it is going to be Tonga who have got themselves the line-out opportunity. But Tim Anstey just a little bit disappointed. Or in fact, that's Will Harris. He's had a haircut since Super Rugby. Here a lot shorter, looking a lot more like Tim Anstey. Okay. They are saying that maybe there should have been a penalty to Australia there for something that happened off the ball. But it is now going to be the line out for the Tongans. And Sam Molly throws it in. And that one has not gone straight, but it's worked out for Tonga. Taken nicely by David Lolo here. Maroon 22-12. Says Sione there. Yeah, we did cover that one on the Kiwi Lad Sport. It was a great game of rugby to watch, or rugby league, I should say. Now that's going to be slapped down. It's a knock-on advantage in favour of Australia A. Now it becomes a scrum. A few early handling errors from both sides in the second half, possibly settling some of the nerves that they have got. I'm actually going to quickly, while we have got a scrum, because we will get, I'll say, about 2 or 3 minutes while they get this one down. Commonwealth Games sports. What else have we got at the Commonwealth Games? I feel like I should be able to remember them all, but I can't think of every... Oops, I just cleared it. Commonwealth Games. Events, I guess it would be, would it? Events. There we go. We'll see what we got. And am I the only fan that thinks Samu Karevi and Joe Kokonasiga are twins separated at birth? I mean, to be fair, they look very similar. And they also have very similar games. Like, so I can see where the comparison comes from. Lalakai Fakiti. Now, nice run down the wing, almost able to break through, but Hudson Creighton on his outside. That ball's gone down. And it is now going to be possibly taken quickly. No, they decide against it. And in the end. See, there's T20 cricket at the Commonwealth Games as well, which I think we are going to be covering. And Tonga's number 10 kicking is not on. There's Abiel there. So, yeah, that would have been David Havili for that one. And also New Zealand is in the Commonwealth, right? They certainly are. And they will be hoping to get themselves a possible gold medal at the Commonwealth Games, maybe. Because that's the thing. It's pretty much international sevens-wise, I think we're only really missing maybe... Who are we missing at international level for the sevens that we don't normally have? We've got South Africa. I think we've got most of the UK sides, such as Scotland, England, Ireland might be there, or they might not be, actually. Now I think about it, it must be Fijians on Kokonasiga and Karevi, says Samisoza, and also good game fortnight, says Sione. So we've got aquatics, diving, which we probably won't end up doing. Badminton. I actually played badminton back at school as well. Basketball 3x3, beach volleyball, boxing, cricket T20, cycling for the mountain biking, time trial, gymnastics, hockey. Hockey's a decent one. Judo, lawn bowls and para-lawn bowls, netball, rugby sevens, squash, table tennis, triathlon, weightlifting, wrestling. That's the bunch. Imagine, oh no, France, Argentina, those are two sides that I'm missing. Have we got anyone else? No, USA, as I says Xavier there. So yeah, other than those sides, I think everyone else is almost in there, aren't they? And women's pole vaulting, please. I mean, we might have a Kiwi. Is Eliza McCarthy still pole vaulting? Because if she is, she will be possibly there. Oh, that's a rough bounce, and that's misread. And now because of it, Fraser McRoy charging for pass on the outside to Hamish Stewart. And that will be the try for Australia A. And that might just end up almost sealing them the deal on this one. But Hamish Stewart got the ball on the outside from Fraser McRoy. It was a brilliant one. It has worked out very nicely for Australia. And yes, New Zealand's in the Commonwealth for obvious reasons. Says Samisoza, and also there you go, Tonga. Says Samisi there. So yeah, they are going to need a try very soon here for the Tongans. That just didn't bounce up nicely for Malsia instead. ended up just completely leaving him for dust. And Hamish Stewart got the ball on the outside. And damn, Junior Wallaby, says Rogue in there as well. I can imagine doing a triathlon commentary because it would go for a good few hours, wouldn't it? But it would be it'd be tricky to commentate without showing, I think would be the best way of describing it. Because I wish there was a way to get licensing for it that wouldn't cost me like a few $1 million. Because then having like the rugby sevens on the channel, that would be pretty awesome. If we did have, the T20 cricket. T20 cricket probably a lot harder to secure, I would think. But being able to show the sevens would have been absolutely awesome. So maybe next Commonwealth Games, we're going to try and work out some way of putting together enough money to be able to show it. Aronoto Viva says it was there from Sione Dalgunu. I just realized I said for 2026, we're going to try and get together a few $1 million to show it. That would be quite a bit. We'd need some sort of, attachment to a certain company who does have the licensing, I think, is a better way of describing it. And Samoa definitely need to win now. Says Abiel, it's going to put some extra pressure on the Samoans. And also we have got there, you should try track and field amateur shooting. Says Sammy Souza there. So there's a few different events. I've considered for the Kiwi Lad Sport, just kind of starting up a live stream and just because they've got about 10 different channels that cover it in New Zealand, just, going through and updating what's happening in a few of them type thing. Let you guys know what channel I'm watching if you guys do want to watch along. And then just kind of go through scouting for the Kiwis maybe in the Commonwealth Games. That would be kind of cool to cover. That one's gone high, beautifully taken there by Malsia. That's a good shot on him by Hugh Sinclair, though. Now back across to Ben Tamefuna. Once again, has another crack at the line. Tom Robinson makes the tackle on him. Now back across. William Arveli, one more to Taumapo. Looking to kick it in behind. Instead, I believe it was taken back into their own half. Now the line out for Australia A. Now, the thing is, Tonga are a little bit far behind on the points here, currently behind by 17. They're going to need 2 converted tries and something in the next 33 minutes. They're going to need something soon if they do want a decent crack. And they do want momentum building into that game up against Hong Kong in only 6 days' time. And also, Tonga fast starts and mid-game fizzles versus Samoa and Oz. It resembles my honeymoon nights, says Rogue in there as well. But honeymoon, you got married, so congratulations. I assume you're still married, Rogue. Overall, if you are, congratulations. If you're not, I guess, well, depending on the circumstance, maybe congratulations, depending on what happened during the marriage. But, yeah. That got deep for a second, didn't it? Harry Hooper out on the field currently. Siruri was able to take it nicely. But once again, another handling error at the back. And also movies, says Sione there as well. Okay, try really hard to hold your front row back is the comment there. And I think he said it to both Tonga and Tonga and Australia A. I just realized 2.5 hours time, we get to see Samoa take on Fiji. That's going to be an awesome one. Deeper than Jordan Pearson, says a Rogue there. There's but now Harry Hoopert has come on the field for Matt Gibbon. Also, Will Harris has gone off. And Tim Anstey has come on. Tonga's got this ball at the back of their scrum, 30 metres out now. And it's a penalty to Tonga. Big claps coming from the front row. David Lolo here's fired up. Right. Now the question is, what do you do if you're Tonga? I think no matter what, you're going to need a 3 at some stage, but now's not the time to get it. You need to be a little bit closer, I would think, to have a decent crack, because 3 points still puts you 14 behind. David, or William Arveli, has gone for the corner. I like that tactic from the North, but seriously, they need to pick it up against Hong Kong next week, because I know Tonga won't want to be in the repechage. It's even more difficult to qualify, fam, says Sammy Souza. So is this their last chance, Sammy Souza, or have they still got one last crack after that if they do end up getting defeated up against Hong Kong? I like how when I sneezed, it went out of focus and then slowly found my head again. 50 metres through. Taken nicely at the front from Sam Lausi. And now the rolling maul begins for Tonga. It's dangerous. And Will Harris, in fact, it was Hugh Sinclair wasn't able to stop him. Sam Molly gets another try for Tonga, and repechage is the last chance, same-ish. Says Sammy Souza. So they're not in the are they in the repechage currently? Yeah, is this the last chance, or have they got one more after? Sorry, I feel like I'm really bad at working out who plays who and when type thing. And also, they Sammy Souza true, bro. I'll never get Manu Samoa having to qualify via repecharges leading into the 1991 Rugby World Cup. Says Rogue there. That is a nice try for Tonga. And now they've got themselves a little bit further back into this match. One moment, we will go like this. That lady is very committed. She has been dancing throughout the full match for this one. And she doesn't look like she's slowing down anytime soon. A loser goes to the repechage from Hong Kong and Tonga, says Sammy Souza. Do we know of any other sides who are currently in the repechage, Sammy Souza? Because I know that there's quite a few African sides playing at the moment, isn't there? I think Namibia, they've gone a little bit further through. I want to say Côte d'Ivoire, if that's how you say it, or Ivory Coast as they used to be, have also made it further, have they? Or have they been beaten by no, they beat Zimbabwe. I think William Havili strikes it, and that one has gone over. So now the score between these two sides, it will be 15 points to 25, just a little bit closer in this contest. We're still another 30 minutes left. And then also we have got Valcota, and there as well, says Rogue. Very nicely done with that rolling maul. It looked like Hugh Sinclair. He went through the middle. He did everything legally. He just couldn't stop in Portugal, Kenya, and the losers from Hong Kong, Tonga, and USA, Chile, from my own knowledge. There's Sammy Souza there. Yes, that's a tricky group because USA or Chile, you'd have to say would be close to top contenders for that if it is Hong Kong going through, just because the US, they put in a lot of effort into making it to this Rugby World Cup. Sadly, Canada miss out completely, don't they? Tuatavuki wasn't able to take that one. Now it's going to be the knock-on against Tonga. And it is the advantage favour of Australia A. Sururu goes back across now in the centres. It will be Hudson Crichton, ball on the outside from Fraser McRae. He has been around it also. We have got that $100, says Sione there. And also we have got there, two for me, please, Taukua. And there as well, says Rogue. Now Lonergan looking off to the left-hand side, gives it back to McRae. Faketi looping round. Dalgunu, quick hands off to Anstey, the Western Force. Blindside flanker he normally is, or number 8, but he did look like a winger flying down the wing once again. Sururu's hands have let him down, and I think Tonga have realised that. So they do take the risk. Oh, it's a good shot there from Lange Gleeson, who's put a man in a bunch, but now down the wing, Anzelo Tuatavuki. Great low tackle made by the try scorer earlier on, Hamish Stewart. Now an advantage to Tonga. A couple players down for them, so they're actually playing with 13. It's like the Tongan Rugby League team all over again. And now they are going back for the penalty. And great weather in the capital. Hopefully a great game without cards also, says Cooper Cronk. Yeah, as long as it stays nice weather, I think we're going to get to see some free-flowing rugby. Ireland, they have said that they are going to try and make the game a little bit scrappy, try and make it maybe not look that great in terms of structure, but I have to wait and see whether or not it does work out for them. Currently a little bit of wind in Fiji at Lautoka, but it is sitting currently at about 29 degrees there. And there's the momentum. Let's go, Tonga, says Abio, and also your thoughts on Wayne Barnes, says Rogue there. So who are the assistant referees as well, Rogue? Do let me know. Wayne Barnes, head official. Do we have like a Nick Berry, or who else do we have? Midweek game, we did end up with that Marius Yonka. I think he was on the touchline, wasn't he, the youngster? I think. And then man in charge, I can't quite remember either. And also we have got there, high says Sione there, but it was a good shot into the rib cage from Lange Gleeson, which did end up putting down the number 6 for Tonga. Now, currently it looks like just having a little bit of time to make sure that that player is going to be all right. But what I will quickly do while we are at it, we will show the benches, ladies and gentlemen. We have already seen a few subs being made. Harry Hoopert, he is on the field. Also, Tim Anstey has made his way out there, and Hamish Stewart. Then for Tonga, they are yet to use the likes of James Fiver. Polinaiti is not out there. Sione Havili is. So he came on at number 19 not too long ago. Vienu might be another dangerous player there for Tonga, the later stages. And then Fial Fotuaika, and also it will be Joe Apakatoa, in the front row. having a shocker there. I think Vaikoso Pulanaiti might be coming on the field now, possibly. And also, I've never liked Barnes since 2007. Our record ain't flashed with him either. Says Cooper Cronk there. And also, we there, Kobe did. Says Sione. And also, don't worry about that crazy Tongan lady dancing, Tonga fans. Way of hiding disappointment through having fun at the stadium, says Sammy Sosa there. But yeah, she just keeps going, doesn't she? She's been dancing all half. Ben Tamefuna, he is now off the field, and I believe that is for Apakatoa, who has replaced him. And with the way that camera zoomed in, you could see the heat radiating around the camera. Now it's going to be Talavita, or in fact, Filippo Dalgunu got this one. That one wasn't able to find touch from Tonga. And also we have got the Kobe did RIP, see you again, says Sione there. And I always find it crazy to think that was about 2 years ago. How quickly time flies is crazy. And also is that Talusa Vainu, formerly of Canterbury NPC. Maybe. You might be correct there. So I want to say yes, but I could be wrong. I know that quite a few of these players for Tonga have been playing in the Bunnings NPC. I think Ezekiel Lindenmouth going to get the debut for Samoa later on today, and he has been playing a lot in the Bunnings NPC for North Harbour or Counties Manukau, one of the two sides. I always get them confused because they've got very similar kits, but I think it's Counties that he has been playing for. It's good work there from Sione Havili, who was able to push the man right off the field. Now it looks like Matt Fazer will be making his way out there alongside. It will be Sururu coming off the field. And another change being made for Australia. Now the crowd is starting to fill up a little bit more, of course, with the game kicking off between Fiji and Samoa only in 2 hours' time. There is certainly going to be a lot of hype around that game when it does take place. Nice run forth from Fatuli Pire on the halfway line currently. It's going to be knocked on, though. And now it's going to be stolen by Lalakai Faketi. Tries to drive through a gap. William Havili able to drag him down 42 metres out from the line. Now counter ruck from David Lolo here. But unfortunately, there was a player still in the breakdown. He wasn't able to get the turnover. Tom Robinson goes back to Hamish Stewart now. Benham Donaldson kicks it in behind. He's looking for the 50-22. Hasn't quite worked out for him. And now, nice kick downfield. And it has found touch as well. And high, a good high as well, says Sione. Welcome once again, mate. Hope you are doing well. Who do you think is going to win that game between Fiji and Samoa, Sione? Dealing with also least Tonga can do is deny Aussie A a bonus point if they can, says Sammy Sosa. Yeah, that would help a little bit, wouldn't it? Because then Australia A would be sitting on 11 points, I believe. I'm just going to have another quick look at the way that the table would be sitting. But it would all come down to that points differential, wouldn't it? And it would actually, would it be Tonga's first points in the competition if they got a bonus point loss? I think it almost would be, but now kicked him behind from Dalgunu, and it does go into touch. Again, another very nice grubber from Australia A, and they are just playing all of the game down in the Tongan half, and Barnes is public enemy number 1 in New Zealand after the 2007 exit. And also, I'm going to try to get back into Plants vs. Zombies. There's Brandon there as well. Yeah, as said, has there had any updates since you last mentioned it, Brandon? I know that would have been a few months ago, so they possibly would have updated quite a bit at that time, but at the moment they're showing Sam Lausey. What can he do for the Tongans at line-out time? They need to make sure that they're claiming this ball every single time, though, or else the mistakes might start to creep in. It's gone up, and it's not claimed, but it has been knocked on by Tom Robinson, and it does bounce up nicely for the Tongans. So Australia currently, their points differential was +9. So, yeah, points differential-wise, if Tonga ended up, or if Samoa ended up losing their game by less than 7, they'd get the bonus point and they would still win. And also, really, Barnes forgot his glasses that day. Here's Cooper Cronk now. It's going to be off to Fraser McRae. Great run forward, being dragged down nicely in the tackle by William Arvilli, who's actually rubbing his head currently. Might have taken a bit of a knock. Now the pass hasn't quite linked up the way that they needed it to for Australia A, but Stewart, ball on the outside to McRae. Great low tackle made by the fullback of Tonga. Got right in enough, or right underneath the breakdown, I should say. Matt Fazer on the field for Billy Pollard. That was the change before. And also Sururu did end up coming off the field. That was for the number 19 who's just joined the breakdown now. 22 minutes left in this contest. Back to Donaldson. Lined up early by, it was big man Alamanda Matanga. Now, okay, that is going to be lost forward. And Tonga now have to try and go up against a strong Australian scrum and Cooper and his I feel like I'm going to mess up that word because I see it as conscience, but it's not conscience. It's conscience too. Is it conscience? I think it is, isn't it? And I was like, oh, well, there's other hemisphere teams. So here's Cooper Cronk there. Oh, here he comes out onto the field, number 23, replacing Tuatavuki. It is going to be the youngster, Vainu. Now gets the opportunity. And also corrects his Rogue in there as well. And also Talusa Vainu. So it is the guy who used to play for Canterbury. You were correct there. Now 22 minutes left. It's looking a little bit dark and dingy in the background in Fiji at the moment. Hopefully it doesn't end up raining for the next game. And yes, big one. Do I get you back on it? Because 14 new game mode and guns with shots. You need get back every Wednesday. So there's Brandon there. But Siruri's currently got his legs crossed on the sideline alongside Dylan Peach. He did go off the field a lot earlier than he would have liked to. And now 10 points difference between these two sides. Pacific Nations Cup, the final round that we get to see of this game, or of this competition. I wish it was longer. I wish everyone played each other twice. Okay. Ryan Lonergan has to put the ball in. It's a great push there from Tonga, but Langi Gleeson cleaning up at the back now. Brilliant run from Gleeson. Ball on the outside to Dalgunu. And he is going to score himself the try. And with that try there, maybe it means that Samoa will need a victory over Fiji to be able to get the Pacific Nations Cup. Thinking of buying Flow Sports to watch Tier 2 Internationals is $42 worth it, says Xavier. How many competitions do you get to see, Xavier Brown, overall? How many internationals would you get to see kind of roughly in a few month period? Because is that $42 a month or is that $42 for like a few months type thing? And also, we have got, I'm back, says Amelia, welcome back. And also, well, it's raining here in Suva, says Sammy Souza. Oh, so Lautoka, how far away is Lautoka from Suva? Do let me know, Sammy Souza, and Fiji scores again. Says Rogue there. Oh, Tavita Dalgunu, or sorry, Filippo Dalgunu might have a bit of an injury here. But looks like, and Gleason's a beast, says Abel. Yeah, I can see him slotting into that Wallaby side in the next few years. He keeps playing the way that he is. And that is actually the bonus point for Australia A. So no matter what, Australia, if they win this game, they will be moving up to 12 points. So it's going to mean that Samoa need the victory. Fiji will no longer be able to win the Pacific Nations Cup, but it's the question of whether or not they can stop Samoa from getting themselves a victory. KFC, says Sione, yes, please. Do love myself some KFC. I'm probably going to end up, that seems to be my ritual, is I do my 18 hours of live streams and then I'm half asleep and then KFC magically appears or we go and get it, me and George. Oh, beautiful from Ryan Lonergan. That one's gone over and now makes a score 32 points in favour of Australia A and 15 to Tonga. And also, Hamish, my dad is picking me up. Are we going to a picnic park and bushwalk chicken salt butter sandwiches? Geez, that sounds all right. And also, Lautoka is around 100 plus kilometres away, says Sammy Souza there. And also, that gravy burger, says Abby. I haven't tried it yet, but is it any good? Has anyone tried the KFC burger with the gravy in it? And also, we have there buckets from KFC and an ultimate box is my go-to, says Amelia. And also, All Blacks today, yes, says Reed. They certainly are going to be epic. See how they do end up going up against the Irish. 20 minutes left. This one now, it's going to be a nice step from Hamish Stewart. Looking like he's waiting for this one. Ryan Lonergan once again will put up the box kick. And also, do you like chicken salt and butter sandwiches, says Jackson. I haven't actually tried one, but I've tried chicken salt on chips. And I've had a sandwich, so I assume they'll be all right together. And also, the Kiwis are better than the ABs at the moment, thanks to Ian. No idea, Foster, says Cooper Cronk. And also, it's good, but it depends what store you got it. You go to. Says Aviel. So is it just the Grey FC? The Grey FC. I don't think anyone would ever call their chicken Grey FC, would they? It kind of sounds bad. But is it the same gravy as the potato and gravy? Are you free or you need download again last time? I think it's 2 week. Says Brandon in there. I said, oh, yeah, I have still got to try and find space. It's probably the big thing because we have currently got a few other games. I know that George is recently getting back into Red Dead Redemption. So that game's like a good 100 gigabytes. And also, I heard he did outstanding job playing Elvis, says Amelia there. But now Sam Lalsi, what can he do for the Tongans? I said that about 3 minutes ago, and they messed up the line out. So see how he does end up going. This one, Tonga look like they're going to make a sub. number 9, number 2, and number 1. So that's going to be Lolahia off the field, Sam Molly off the field, and Manu Paia off the field. And then in the replacement, it is going to be Joe Apakatoa. And then also, I believe, who else have they got out there on the field currently? Or he didn't actually have to make his way out onto the field, the number 16. He was already on the touchline. I bought PlayStation 2 just so I can play the 3D Mortal Kombat game, says Ronnie O'Sullivan. Oh, another game for you on PlayStation 2, if you can find it. Simpsons Hit and Run, such a fun game. Like, it was kind of GTA before GTA was like a proper well-known thing. But it's like, if you like The Simpsons, you're going to love that game. I actually have considered trying to find it again, but we lent our copy to one of my cousins, and I don't think he's ever returned it, which is a shame. And also we have got there, George, download it on your own Xbox. Can you try Amish, says Brandon? Or George has actually got Red Dead on his Xbox, but I also downloaded it so I can play with him, I think. And also we have got there, don't worry, I got an Xbox Series S on Thursday, and I've spent the last 48 hours downloading NBA 2K22, and Simpson Hit and Run is the best as well, says Amelia. That's going to be a nice low tackle made once again now. It's going to be Folo Kalafi making his way onto the field. That is for Sam Molly, who did score 2 tries earlier on in the contest. That's a mistake from Fiafuchueka. And I see a Halo is now going to be there. And yeah, I love that game. I also love Tenju Wrath of Heaven in there, as I says Ronnie. Another good one, oldie but a goodie. Mum spent a lot of time playing the SpongeBob SquarePants movie game, if you have heard of that. It can be frustrating, though, that is for sure. Even now, like trying to get past levels is just a pain, but it's quite fun at the time. And also, we were there, that one Cuzzy who never returns games, says the Rogue. And also, the early days WWE games are the best. Yeah, from SmackDown versus Raw 2008 earlier, when you get General Manager mode, I feel like is the best way of doing it. Also, China. And also, I play Clash of Empire, says Cooper Cronk. And also, WWE, says L Swags. And they're about now 63 minutes through. Tonga, the thing is, they can't really do too much from here in terms of other than winning. That is the big thing. If they win, that cancels out the points for Australia, but they'll still get themselves a bonus point. But if Australia do win this game, then it's all down to Samoa and Fiji. Sega Mega Drive. Oh, I remember the good old days of Sonic and whatnot. We used to have it on the box TV. I feel like I'm speaking as if I'm a lot older, but we did have like the Sega and whatnot, and Xbox Game Pass, got cloud gaming. Says Brandon there, and also we have that was good up until WWE 2K or 12. After that, it's the same thing every year, says Amelia. Because they did add something for WWE 2K22, didn't they? How it's like a manager mode, but it's not quite the same as the old one. And also Nintendo, says Cooper Cronk, the good old days. I actually took a Nintendo DSi to my school camp at the Antarctic Centre in Christchurch. Took pictures of the penguins and whatnot. And yeah, it was an interesting choice because it's like it almost looked like a camera, but it was bright yellow. So it just stood out like a sore thumb. And also you can play it with not download, although we did actually try Sniper Elite, me, George, and Isaac, and really it doesn't work well with cloud gaming. Unfortunately, my Wi-Fi is not good enough to actually do a decent frame rate in GM mode, but it's not the same, says Amelia. And on Games Raw, I have a PlayStation 5, but there are no games for next gen yet. So many are confirmed but not released, says Ronnie O'Sullivan. And yeah, it's weird to think that certain games, actually, Ronnie, have you got Rugby 08 or Rugby 06 on your PlayStation 2? Because people still say that is actually the best game when it comes to rugby since now. And also James Bond game on Nintendo, says L Swags. And also High Phase Rex, says Sione. And also every time Tonga get momentum, there's a mistake. There is, unfortunately, offside once again, but now actually Tonga get the penalty for it. And also we've got that, unfortunately, says Sione, for him being stoned in there. And also GoldenEye on Nintendo. Only reason I got my Series S because I wanted to get my Greasy Mitts on the next gen console to enjoy the extra stuff they put into NBA 2K on Korea on next gen, says Amelia. Kicked into touch from William Harvelli. I remember I bought 2K18 NBA on Xbox 360 thinking it was going to be the same, and it was not the same. And also I'm in Kingdom 76 in Clash of Empires, says Cooper Cronk. Yeah, I haven't, but I'm going to get it now, says Ronnie. Yeah, you will have to pay about 70 or 80 bucks for it, more than likely, just to try and find it, but it's well worth it. It is like the World League mode on there and everything. Like, it takes a little bit to get used to the controls, but after you get used to them, like you will find that the back line just seems to be a little bit crisper than some of the new ones. Now, nice run forward from Fatuli Pai. It looks like Tonga haven't given up in this contest. Oh, they've just dropped it again. Once again. And also, I always have the best of my career, says Amelia there for 2K17 and mean progress, Cooper. And does this mean Samoa will win it overall, says Hanoi. They still have to beat Fiji in their next game. And I got the update, my game Hamish this weekend is only time I free, says Brandon in there. Now going to be passed back across from Asia Halo. Nice run forward. And also Devin Booker as the 2023 cover is a violation, says Abiel there. And also good, says Sione there. And good again from Sione. Speaking of Sione Havili. Good again from Sione. And also I have a 360. I swear I never get bored on it, says Amelia. Yeah, there's some good games that I wish they did bring like to new consoles, but they just don't. There was actually one, what did I find yesterday? An old Lego Star Wars one that I saw, and I was like, hang on, I used to play that on PlayStation 2 and rent it out from Video Easy. If you guys remember that shop, how you rent out like PlayStation games, $10 for 2 nights, and then you got to give it back. And also we have got the Assassin's Creed and Splinter Cell. My all-time fave, says Rogue there, and also I'm doing the New Zealand X. Does Flow Sports get any club rugby? It's a good question. The problem slightly is they don't seem to tell you exactly what you're getting until you've got it, if that makes sense. Do they have a free trial, Xavier? Because if they do, I would highly recommend looking at that free trial first, just so that you can work out, I guess, what you've got in terms of the competitions around the world. Because you also got to remember, like club rugby-wise, with Stan Sport, I believe they've got the Bunnings NBC, so you'll get New Zealand's rugby anyway on there, and also you get Australia's domestic competition, and Skate 2 is better than Skate 3. I spent a lot of hours on Skate 2, that is for sure. I like sports games when I'm challenging someone. Not so good. It's not so much against the computer, says Cooper Cronk. See, I'm almost the opposite. I feel like I prefer the predictability of a computer because you can kind of work it out a little bit more. Nice rolling maul here. Once again, through the middle. I think that was actually possibly illegal, though. So because of it, 19 has to get out of there. I play more sports games to play the player career mode. You get a free trial if you call them, but I'm not in the US, says Xavier. And also I do NPC and a rugby and Olympic game. Oh, London 2012 is another classic game on Xbox 360. I actually went looking for it. That's going to be another penalty. It's actually down there. Look at that. London 2012. This game is brilliant. Like, it's a game we played on a channel that we didn't upload it in the end, but we have us playing along. And I think I'm going to edit it soon because it was so fun. Definitely with the Commonwealth Games coming up, I feel like it's the perfect time to kind of do some of those athletic type ones. I still play FIFA 14 today, and I enjoy the old days. Aston Villa, says Amelia there. And also Fortnite, says Sioni. And there's, but geez, they were close to getting over the try line there. And the nostalgia, says Amelia. Oh, Tonga, they've got a chance now. Going in, nicely taken. Australia decide not to contest for that one. And now with 12 minutes left, Tonga, they want the rolling more. It's looking decent for them. It's going close. He breaks off. It's the try to Tonga. And they are still not going up. And Anthony Joshua won his gold medal in those Commonwealth Games, says Rogue there. And also London 2012 was so much fun, says Amelia. And the thing is, we've also played the Summer Olympics games, which, like, there's a big difference because this one you got a little bit more, I'm see-through. You got a little bit more of the button, like control buttons, I guess you could say, whereas on another one, Summer Olympics, you're just pretty much smashing your controller. Tonga, says Rogue there. I'm going to put that back over there. Hopefully my headphones stay on my head. Because we actually got the Rugby World Cup 2011 game a little bit more recently. Don't really watch pro wrestling, but like playing the games like WrestleMania, SmackDown, etc. I'm going to be 18 on the 5th next month, and I'm already reliving my childhood, says Amelia there. But yeah, it's going to be, I guess, the 18 to 20 stage is all right. Overall, I probably didn't do as much in it as I did after 20, but you'll be able to go out, see the world, see probably a lot of stadiums as well, possibly in Pro Sports as Wales versus Romans. And they say it's tomorrow. What side is Wales sending? Well, I know that Wales are taking on South Africa, if that's the game that they're talking about. And also we have got their Samoa overall winners if they beat Fiji, says Simi Souza. Yeah, that is what they'll be looking for. And also, if Tonga end up beating Australia A, it means that Samoa win outright. Yeah, they would actually win it. And Romania, I see Romania. Wait, Wales are playing Romania? Are they? I think Wales or Romania, I think, are playing Portugal. I want to say. I'll have a quick look. And also, my mum told me that once I turned 18, she said she can't tell me what to do. Says Amelia there. And also Romania, says Rogue. And that one moment will go, yeah, I think Romania have someone other than Wales, don't they? Romania, they played Uruguay on the 11th. So a little bit earlier on in the week. Portugal have Georgia. Romania play Uruguay in 18 days, or not 18 days, 6:30 on Monday morning. They are going to be playing up against Uruguay again. And now Tane Edmund, he has actually replaced Filippo Dalguni. That is a big change to have on the field. One moment, I'll check it. Wales versus Romania men's. Interesting. Second teams maybe, but I wouldn't think that they'd have enough to get a second team. So I think they mean Uruguay, Romania, I want to say. Maybe they've got Wales rather than Uruguay. Oh, under 20s, actually, that makes a lot more sense. Under 20s might be who ends up playing. And also, is that half-price oil, Sione? Are you selling half-price oil? Or 2/5 oil, so about 40% off, is it? And also, I reckon the last decent 2K game-wise was 2K16, simply because of how enjoyable the My Career mode was. And also, Alwyn Jones, I could rack up his test if he plays versus Romania. Oh, there's another double blow of the whistle. It's not looking too good. And now, unfortunately, Tonga end up with a man in the bin. There's 10 points difference. And now for the last 10 minutes, Hanoi is not going to be there for Tonga. That's going to make it just a little bit trickier for them. And what I talk about, there's Brandon. And there's mainly the games and also the Wales and Romania game. And also, what are your predictions for today? I have got New Zealand, England, South Africa, and Scotland as winners. I think I'm actually pretty close. In fact, I am what you've just said, Ronnie. I think the biggest question is England as the underdogs in Australia. But from what I saw last week, I think they are going to be able to get the job done. Also, over there, come on, Refi clearly tried to regather, says Abiel. Also, I just want to give questions, says Brandon in there. But yeah, Scotland versus Argentina, I think, has the potential of being the most exciting game of the weekend, and not too many people know it. I bet you it's going to be like 3-0 or something. That's another try for Australia. James Tuttle scores it, and that will secure the deal for the Australians. This is 78 minutes, but it is actually only 72 minutes through England, Wales, Scots, Ireland, maybe by 2. Says Hanoi. So all Northern Hemisphere teams for that. And also the game of cards for weekend rugby has begun. As Rogue, it certainly has. There's a huge amount of games. The fact that I have to wait 2 hours between this game ending and the next game starting is a shame, but we've got about an hour 40 till we start our next live stream, because we are going to be talking about that Fiji versus Samoa game before it gets underway. We've got plenty of stats to look at and everything along those lines. And also, I thought Fiji had it worse in 2011 with how Tonga are at the moment, says Simi Souza. Yeah, discipline letting them down a little bit there. 15 points difference in this contest once again. And it would be great to see Argentina win. I love seeing them do well, says Ronnie. And yeah, that game's going to be epic. So what country are you in at the moment, Ronnie? Do let me know. And are you going to be watching that game? Because we are still going to be live. That will be about our 17th hour of live streaming, I think, or our 16th hour or something along those lines. Good for you, Hamish. Is George coming? I believe he might be coming for Australia versus England, but I think that's the only one that he's got. Southern Hemisphere will take it 4-0 or 3-1, says Sammy Souza. So who's your winner for the North, Sammy Souza, if it's 3-1? Is it England or is it Scotland? I think those are the two big ones, aren't they? Ireland, says Rogue there. I have a suspicion it might be Ireland, but then it would be very late or very early in the morning, like 3 a.m., something along those lines. So I don't know. William Harvey kicks high. Oh, it's taken brilliantly. Once again from Tim Anstey. Now back across. One more pass. Edmund goes off. I'm in England. It's 2:35 a.m. Yeah, I don't sleep much, says Ronnie. Oh, yeah, so you are actually, you're in the middle of the night at the moment. What are your plans for international rugby schedule-wise watching? Which games are you watching? Which games do you think you will skip so that you can sleep? And also, okay, bye, says Jackson. there as well, because that's the thing. If you've slept up till now, we've got like 17 hours more of rugby that has taken place. So we will be here on the channel if you do want to chat at any stage throughout the day or night, but be sure to get some sleep, I would recommend, or else you will be absolutely shattered for the week. Yeah, James Favour now passes off into the hands of the big man at number 20 for this game. And also Scotland probably as a wildcard guess, because that Wallabies team stacked with Reds players means that they do really well, unlike the Waratahs players being meh, says Sammy Souza. That's a good point. They have actually got Suliasi Vunivalu coming off the bench. I'll watch all of them and drink a float of coffee, says Roddy. So yeah, I guess at some stage throughout the night, I'm going to ask you on a scale of 1 to 10, how awake are you, Ronnie? So be sure to tune in for that. And then either we'll get a 1 or we'll get a like 7, or we might get a Ronnie's asleep. And also, Hamish, do you think every time you is bed maths? I do try my best to get the questions right. So that's probably why I end up thinking a bit harder about the maths questions than some of the other ones, just because like maths overall, I had to prove that I was decent at maths because I got one question wrong about two or 3 months ago. I got one question wrong, and then pretty much from there, I ended up like everyone thinks I'm terrible at maths, so I've got to prove that I'm not too bad. And Nice Stadium too, Optus says Gronk does indeed. I probably won't be able to type because my hands will be shaking from a coffee overdose, says Ronnie in there. So we'll just hear some grunting from Ronnie and we'll know, yeah, he's all right. Well, he's kind of all right. He's caffeinated to his eyeballs, but he's slightly all right. And can you do post reviews? Says Brandon. I think the post-match review that we have got planned so far is going to be Samoa versus Fiji. I'm hoping to squeeze one in between there. The bad boy of snooker. Says Cooper Cronk there. And you're related to a famous snooker player with the same name. Says Rogue. Now that is going to be the penalty to Australia A. And also we have got there how Vunivalu, or hopes Vunivalu gets some ball in Tonga, going to be 0-3 for Katoa Pietau and Falau. Might want to take their time coming back, says Abiel. Although from the looks of it, for Ronnie O'Sullivan's picture, I think that might, yeah, there he is. It is the snooker player. And then Ronnie O'Sullivan. Are you a big fan of snooker? Is your name actually Ronnie as well? Do let me know. And not just a fan says Ronnie. Yeah, is your name also Ronnie, or is it something else? Would you prefer to be called Ronnie, or do you want your actual name? And the greatest is us, says Cooper. And good to be Hamish. What is, oh no, that's a hard one, Brandon. I believe if you're looking through bed maths, you're going 46 divided by 4, which is tricky because it's a number. It's like 12.5. And then you're plussing that to 25. So 12.5 plus 25, 37.5, is it, Brandon? I might be wrong there. And Pop Black. And there as well, says Rogue. Ball popping up. Tonga, I've got this one, only 2.5 minutes left in this Pacific Nations Cup game. And this will be the last minutes we see from either of these sides. Now, my name's Scott. Just call me Ronnie, says Ronnie. And there's our alrighty. I will remember Ronnie, but deep down, I'll be thinking Scott in my head. Now, nice run from Sione Havili. If Tonga can get themselves another try, although it's been ripped away, brilliant work in the breakdown. Quite funny that the Aussie A team is 90% Aussie compared to the Wallabies being a complete fruit salad with equal sharing of Pacifica pork in there as well. Sammy Souza. I've never heard the term complete fruit salad with sharing of Pacifica pork. I kind of like it though. Oh, Tom Robinson's just been pushed over backwards. Oh, in fact, it was Tom Ross. And did get shunted out of the way. It's a little knock on the ground though from Tonga. And I was call me Scotty. That's full time in the game. 39 points to 22. Australia A, they take first in this competition now. And the big question is, will they remain there at the end of the competition? We will have to wait and see. That next game coming up between Fiji and Samoa. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. We might have time to put in a post-match review and also look at the Wallaby squad, and then you'll know what I mean. Yeah, there are quite a few players who sneak in there. Taniela Tupou, also known as Tongan Thor, not Aussie Thor. And then also, I mean, you got a couple of those guys, Suliasi Vunivalu. And also, is there any pros money for this? Pros and money? Pros and money. What is pros and money? Do let me know. And also, thanks, Hamish, says Rogue. And then no worries at all, mate. And also, beam me up, Scotty, says Rogue. Yeah, there. But Seruru, he'll be pretty happy with the way that they did end up playing. I hope Dylan Peach isn't injured, but he went off relatively early. He looks like he's got a bit of a limp going. Of the Australians, you'd have to say that there were a few players who really stepped up in this contest. Fraser McWright, Langy Gleeson, the loose forward trio was looking very strong in 36.4. There's Brandon there. And also we have their prize low. And yeah, I think there is the trophies. And cheers, bro, off to have some lunch. And no prize money, only the trophy for Pacific Nations Cup winner. Now Australia A, they have got one step closer to being able to secure it. But nonetheless, we will be back in about 1.5 hours time for Fiji versus Samoa. It is our second match of the day that we are covering for the Pacific Nations Cup. So if you are new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It is a second one of 6. I should also mention that we are going to be doing on the Kiwi Lads channel. Be sure to check out the Kiwi Lads Sport. Also check out that membership if you do want exclusive emojis in the chat throughout these next live streams. And it does help your name stand out in a different color when we do get into those hectic live streams that are those internationals later on. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And I will see you all